This week on Cruise In, we're doing something a little different. It's all tractors today.
This is kind of the Cadillac of John Deere, so I guess if you're a serious collector, you need to buy something like that.
Beautiful and rare, it's the cream of the crop.
So you might say this is the first Edsel.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Before Edsel made the car, this was him.
Who knew the first Edsel was a tractor? Plus,
we run an auxiliary through this bottle just to make sure it's good, clean fuel.
the Buckeye guys start a rare Packard that hasn't been started in over 30 years.
So I brought up this year just something else different, you know?
And that it is. Very different. And we have something different for you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
This week it's all classic tractors from the 36th annual Big Show on Cruise In. And it starts right now.
This week on Cruise In, we're getting down and dirty on the farm. Hi, I'm Will Birch, and we're at the Big Show presented by the Ashtabula County Antique Engine Club. There's tractors, there's cars, and there's bean soup, and I'm gonna partake in all three, so let's get started. All right, Mylan, this is an interesting piece you got behind you. What is this here?
This is a 1927 Eagle tractor, Model H.
And how do you find something like this?
This one here, I was fortunate enough to know an individual that had this. I first saw this tractor back in 1981. I was good friends with the individual. When he passed, I was able to acquire this off of his heirs.
I've seen you driving it around here today. I mean, it rides pretty good, huh?
Yes, it does. Yes, yeah, for something that's 90 years old. Yes, yes.
How much could this pull? How much weight do you think?
I'm assuming this could easily pull 2 or 3 tons. I'm assuming, yes. Wow. Yeah. I believe it would pull like 3 plows easily. Yes.
It looks like a locomotive engine or something.
It's actually just a very early 2-cylinder gasoline engine.
Really?
Yes, yes.
Have you had to do anything to it since you got it?
Yeah, the 2 major things that needed to be done was the radiator has to be completely rebuilt. It has a new core support and new tanks, and also the rear fenders had to be replaced as the original ones were all rotted away.
I gotta imagine you don't see a lot of these around.
No, you don't. No, this is not a very common tractor. No.
And when you bring it to a place like this, you get a lot of people stopping and looking at it?
That is correct. I get a lot of people photographing it, a lot of people asking me questions, a lot of people just giving me thumbs up, yes.
Say, you're awful young to be, you'd think an older gentleman would have this.
I've been interested in antique tractors and machinery like ever since like age 7.
So in its time, how would this have been used?
This would have been used for plowing or disking. This particular tractor here spent a lot of its early days grading a road about 20 miles west of this location.
Really? So this helped build the area that
yes,
that is
correct. Help maintain the roads, yes,
that's
correct.
Great. I mean, it's a little piece of history you're driving around.
That is correct, yes.
So this has been a passion of yours since you were young?
Yes, that is correct.
I like the canopy up there too. Was that a tin roof on there?
Yes, that's just a corrugated tin sheet metal. Yes, correct.
Wow. It must get a little hot under there though.
It's actually not that. It's not that bad. It's
really?
not that. Yeah. Yes. It's not that bad. This thing runs relatively cool, so it doesn't get horribly bad up there. No.
Oh, that's not too bad then. I like that.
So.
Oh, so we appreciate you bringing it out here, driving it around, showing it to us. All smiles when you got it cruising around here, and imagine a ton of thumbs up. So.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Well, thanks for bringing it out and showing it to us.
Thank you.
All right, Bruce. Well, what is this you're standing next to here?
An International Ottaway.
What year is this from?
Either a late 1908 or an early 1909. We're not exactly sure.
Does not look like what's on the road today, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So how did you find this?
We're collectors all over the U.S. These kind of things like this just kind of find me. I really don't hunt them down for this kind of stuff.
Well, I love, it's so different. The steering wheel on the opposite side, the headlights, I mean, everything about this car seems extremely unique. What was this used for in 1908?
Well, actually these were sold and they actually produced them. They used them. Many trucking companies ordered fleets of these trucks from International back when they were Once they done trials on these trucks where they ran them, where this truck here, particular truck, is a half-ton truck. And the reason for the extra seat was for the Sunday meeting, or you go to church, you pull the rear seat out, Monday morning it's a truck again. This was a great product in its day over a horse and wagon, you know, I mean.
A little bit nicer ride than riding a buggy around, right?
Right, that's right.
So how rare is this? Do you see many of these around?
We really don't know. They say there could be 100 of these left, but we're really not sure. I mean, in the state, how many's around? I mean, it would just, I mean, I know the fellow that is the registry for these auto wagons. We've heard different theories, but most of the time they believe there's in the neighborhood of 100 left.
So were they all uncovered, or was there a covered model?
No, they made them with a single canopy over the front seat, and then they made them with a double canopy over the whole buggy. And they actually, windshields were optional for these. I mean, there was a lot of options for the auto wagons. I mean, they all come with a complete tool set.
How fast does it go?
18 to 20 mile an hour.
That's not bad.
Two gears forward, one reverse. You got a foot brake, and then you got a clutch brake, and then you have a hand clutch.
And you were telling me that the story behind the radiator is kind of interesting too, right?
Yeah, they made these early on, were all air cooled. Up until the last air cooled buggy was made in 1911.
Okay, so almost a prototype for me.
Right, but it wasn't. They made, I don't know how many they made, but they made them for a few years in there where they were designing a false radiator because they really hadn't had everything down pat on the engine just yet.
So how do the headlights work, or the lights on the side work?
They're kerosene. Same way with the taillights. The taillights are designed the same way. The headlights on this buggy are not correct. The original headlights would have been butane.
Oh, wow.
They had a generator that on the side that you burn carbide in, made of butane gas.
The solid wheels, I mean, this has got to be a pretty bumpy ride on those
No,
wheels.
it rides really nice.
Really?
Because of the spring suspension.
Oh, okay.
The whole buggy's on springs. Actually, it rides really, really nice.
Really?
Yeah.
And do you take it for spins around town or anything, or you just?
No, mostly in some parades once in a while. We drive it around our farm. We got a farm.
You know what? It's a blast from the past. I tell you what, it's awesome for you to bring it out today. Thank you so much for showing us.
Okay, thank you.
Well, the tractor pull has started, so that means we're not going anywhere. There's more coming up from the Big Show, presented by the Ashtabula County Antique Engine Club, right here on Cruise In.
Welcome back to the Big Show in Ashtabula County, Ohio on Cruise In.
All right, Larry, what are you standing next to here? What is this?
Well, this is our Waterloo Boy N. It's a 1918.
Well, how did you get this?
It's kind of interesting how I bought it. I knew we was going to have it for sale, restored as you see it. We left on January 3rd. It was about 60 degrees that year. We got out in Waterloo, I don't know how many hours, 16 hours. Bought it. One of the interesting things is a decal. It's kind of interesting, that decal. So that's pretty rare.
That's crazy. So is this something you were looking for? Did you?
Yes, we have a collection of 20. This is kind of the Cadillac of John Deere. So I guess if you're a serious collector, you need to buy something like that.
How long did it take you to find it?
Actually, it was about a year. I was told that this guy was going to be restoring this. These are pretty rough when they bought them. There's 65 known to exist. There was 30,000 of these actually built. They claim this one here came off of a plantation and was really hardly ever used.
Really?
And you can tell that by the bull gear.
You have your family all over here too. Are you going to pass it on at some point?
It's always been a family affair. And now we got a lot of 9 grandkids that, as you can see, they love it.
They climb all over it. I mean, does it run? Can you
It
run?
runs, yes
Really?
it does. We haven't run for a few years. Don't quite have the time like I used to.
So how did you get into collecting tractors?
Well, I've always been a collector of things. I had a dairy farm. When I bought the farm, the guy that owned the farm had a John Deere B, and he left to go with the farm. And that's kind of how we got started. It gets to where you just got to have another one, and you got to have another one.
Well, we appreciate you bringing it out and showing it to us. This is awesome. Thank you very much.
Glad to do that. Glad to do that.
And thank you for bringing the family out, too.
You bet.
And happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, Keith. Well, this is a little different from what we usually have on the show. What do you have here?
It's 1928 Fordson, made in Ireland.
Really? How do you come across something like this?
Found it on eBay, actually.
Oh, so for as old as this is, the new school way of finding things, right?
Right.
When you find something like this, how do you get it to your house?
Well, if it's within a few hundred miles, we go get it. If not, we contract haulers or friends that live out west and have them bring it home.
And where did you find this one at?
This one came from Nebraska.
Nebraska, okay.
Had a friend going out to buy another one like it and paid him to bring it back.
Was it on display somewhere, just stuck in a barn?
It was in a field for 50 years.
Really? Did the people just not know they had a gem sitting out there?
Exactly.
It's a tractor with a front loader on it, obviously.
Yeah, the loader issue is very, very rare. We know of 3 of these made.
Really? Does it work?
Yes, it does. It runs. It's operational.
You ever got it out there in the field and got it moving around a little bit?
Haven't scooped up any dirt with it yet, but we've driven it. We just got this done actually about a week ago.
So is this the condition it was in when you got it?
Oh no. Motor was froze up, a lot of parts missing.
How hard is it to find parts for something like this?
Very hard. So over the years, we buy every part we can find and just put it in stock and use it on the next project.
So how long have you been collecting old tractors?
25 years.
And I'd imagine it's changed a lot since the internet became.
Yeah, you can find parts a little easier now than you could back then. Like this one, we would have never found it being in Nebraska if it wasn't from the internet. We'd have never found it.
Used to be a lot more page turning in magazines, I'd imagine, right?
Yes, a lot more.
What's the relationship between Fordson and Ford?
The Fordson is a division of Ford. It was Henry Ford and his son Edsel.
So you might say this is the first Edsel.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Before Edsel made the car, this was him. Yeah.
So was this big bucks when it came out? I mean, this was...
Actually, the Fordson tractor was one of the cheapest tractors in history. Henry Ford set out, just like with the Model T cars, he wanted to build an automobile that everyone could afford. The Fordson tractor, he tried the same thing. He wanted to build a tractor that everybody could buy. So they were only about $500 to $700 when they were made, which is half of what most of the other tractors were.
So were these extremely popular back then?
Very. Over 1 million of these were made. Not this particular one, but the earlier ones in the mid-20s. By 1927, over 1 million were made.
Do you see very many of them?
You don't see a lot of them anymore, no.
Was the front loader an option, or did it come standard?
Yeah, that was made by a separate company called Lessman Loader. It was an option that was offered. The dealer would have put it on, or you could put it on yourself.
And what's the price difference between the two?
The loader was probably almost as much as the tractor, around $500.
And what could that lift, you think?
It would lift dirt, clay, whatever, and we also have a manure bucket for it to clean out barns. So, yeah, this was probably your forerunner of the Bobcat.
So how far, I mean, you could drive it around, does this thing cruise pretty good?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
Does the crank on the front, is that how you start it?
That's how you start it, crank on the front.
Are those rail tires in the front?
No, that's just a steering bead on there. They're made out of solid cast iron. They weigh about 250 pounds apiece. Very heavy.
And I'd imagine there's not much that can slow this thing down. It gets just
if it hits it, it's going to go through it or run it over.
Well, we appreciate you showing it to us, man. This is absolutely crazy.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out to the show. Happy to have you here.
Coming up.
That's the first time this has been fired in over 30 years. You can hear it purring away.
The Buckeye guys start up a classic. Next.
Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Cruising with the Buckeye Guys. Today at Buckeye Classic Car Restoration, you bring us a project, we can fix it. Behind me I have a 1942 Packard Clipper. All right, this thing hasn't seen sunlight in 30 years.
This car was a mid-year release in April of 1941, and they only made these clippers for 2 years, 41 and 42. So finding parts is a little difficult, but we came through and found what we needed.
Now on Buckeye Classic Car Restoration, we do repairs like this all the time, or not repairs, let's just say bring them back from the dead, right? This has been sitting forever. We do parts research for you. We do charge for the parts research, and the time finding parts for this thing has been unbelievable.
Yeah, some of these smaller numbered cars, it can be tough to find parts, and you got to find interchanges, and it's all doable. It's just a matter of time.
These are really, really cool cars. They're really, really neat to find. You don't see them, and we've done a tremendous job getting this baby running. And as you can see here, the dirt is the way it came in. We haven't washed this thing because we're waiting to film this show here and show you how it came to us. And even the American flag up there, we don't know how many stars it has, but it probably has less than the 50 on there. We should count them and make sure, but other than that, let's start it up. And while you're filling this, Don, we need Bruce here, you know, for his hair gel.
Well, he's still in the bathroom from last week, just trying to get his hair perfect.
See, we gotta get him in the bathroom, out of the bathroom. You know, he's been in there way too long.
Yeah, that mirror's got a lot of miles on it. As you can see here, what I'm doing is filling up an auxiliary bottle for fuel. With this car sitting for so long, we're not quite sure what's in the fuel tank, or rather what's not in the fuel tank. And instead of risking it and running fuel through the fuel system, possibly picking up rust and debris, we run an auxiliary through this bottle just to make sure it's good, clean fuel.
I think the flag's only got 48 stars. Sounds like a sewing machine. Can't even hear the lifters ticking. This is the first time this has been fired in over 30 years. You can hear it purring away.
Yeah, she runs nice and quiet and smooth. Like I said, as soon as we get the fuel system figured out, we'll be good to go.
Very quiet. And the antique oil bath air filter too. Pretty neat.
Absolutely. Air horns on top. Very neat setup.
All right, cool. And also, this is a 48 star flag too. That's how long that's been on there for. Thanks for tuning in with this edition of Cruising with the Buckeye Guys. As you can see, at Buckeye Classic Car Restoration, we can bring back to life any American car. This was tough getting parts for it, but it came back to life. And like this car here, it's a great American product. We found the 48 state flag on here. We've never seen one of those until this project. And we're happy to bring this back to life. And for all your restoration needs, please give us a call at 330-533-4757.
Next up.
1, 2, well,
Cranking up the Oliver OC3 Crawler next. Now back to the big show in Ashtabula County, Ohio on Cruise In.
All right, Tim, what are you standing next to here?
well, it's a clear track. The age, I'm not certain. I mean, there's no ID on it. I found a manual here, showed for an OC3. Means it's fairly old, but it runs good. I've got two of these.
All right, you have a lot of tractors, so what makes this one special?
My newest one. I bought, they run, hey. So I brought up this year just for something else different, you know?
So where did you find this at?
At an auction down there in North Carolina.
So did you have to put much work into it? Did you have to put a lot of work into it?
I haven't done nothing to it.
Really? This came just like this, huh?
I changed the one peg on this side here. I mean,
what were these originally used for?
well, this one's used for logging, okay? Timber cutters take these out and they pull log trees back in, wherever to get them loaded, or sawmill.
And I see the hand crank on the front. Is that how you start it?
Yeah, I mean, simple, you know, you don't have to go round and round, you know? 1, 2, well, yeah,
easy as that.
Yeah. That's all. I mean, come on. Trying to give me a hard time. I mean,
Now you had a long drive coming up here. You said you're from this area, right?
10.5 hours.
10.5 hours, and you told me that's nothing.
No. My first trip up, I brought my camper up. I dropped it off 7 o'clock at night. That's early. I drove back home.
Same day?
Yeah.
You're a madman, you know that?
No, you can't do 1,000 miles a day. What the heck?
I guess I'm what the heck then, because I can't do 1,000 miles a day. Hey, how's the ride on this compared to a normal tractor?
Actually, compared to my one with the steel cleats, it's smoother riding.
Really?
Yeah, steel cleats, I mean, they really bounce you around. So my McCormick Deering, it's rough ride. Well, I'll put rubber between the tracks on it. But
it's almost like a mini tank.
Yeah.
How big of an object can it get over?
I don't know. I get a pretty good one on my ramp, okay?
So are these used for anything now, or are they just collectors now?
Nah, I just buy stuff. I like it. What the heck? I mean,
you're not pulling any trees around or anything like that?
Hey, I only live on an acre. Yeah. I mean, I'm like, dang, what happened to the farms we had up here, you know? But I got these two distant cousins. They got farms up here just north of Dorset. So that's not far from here, so.
Well, I'm glad you made the trek up. It's very cool, and I'm glad you showed it to us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm glad every year.
If you didn't make it out here to the big show, you missed awesome rides and tractors like the steam engine behind me. There's a jet engine here and much, much more. We got plenty of thanks to go around, including Dave, who invited us out, the Ashtabula County Antique Engine Club, and you for tuning in. I'm Will Birch saying so long from Cruise In.